Good evening, everybody, and welcome into the Sports Arena on a Wednesday night. It's your man, Eric Wilson. As always, I've got a jam-packed show. Got a few special guests joining us, hanging out with us tonight here as we discuss the topics. But before I get started, please allow me to formally introduce the show by saying very simply two words: all rise, because he did it, which was not very shocking to anybody, truly. But congratulations to Aaron Judge hitting 62 home runs in a regular season. With that, let me get the crew in here tonight. Of course, I got my man, Sideline Sports on Blue Hawks 13, Mr. John Shears in the building. Good evening, sir. What's up, brother?
Not much. Just a lot of football to go over.
Yeah. We are gonna start. We are gonna start, of course, with baseball tonight. So let me get our man who's been filling in for us this whole entire time. This brother is doing a lot, as always. Like I said, Basket Bros, the Gauntlet, Cub Fidential, all over Sideline Sports. He's probably like our extended family of the sports arena. We need to officially make him a member. But my man Denzel, the sniper, is in the building tonight. Good evening, sir.
Hey, what's going on? It's another Wednesday night. Let's get it. How you feeling?
I'm well. I'm well. And then this man, you've seen him on the show here a couple of times. You know, he's doing his own thing though. As always, I've had the pleasure of working with him and meeting him at the Black Sport Business Symposium in Atlanta. He has his own show, the Halftime Show, right here. Let me put it up for you. Bam, Halftime Show with Cortland Griffin. The one and only is in the building. Good evening, sir. What's up?
What's good, y'all? Hey, this shirt says YOLO, but you don't long ball only once, baby, when you Aaron Judge. So
All right, so let's get right to it, gentlemen. He did it last night. 62 home runs in a single season. Definitely, I want to get everybody's thoughts on this, what this means for the Yankees, what this means going into the postseason. And then we're going to ask a question that Cortland might not like, but we definitely going to get into it a little bit here tonight on the sports arena. So, Sniper, I'm going to start with you tonight. Give me your thoughts on 62. Give me your thoughts on Judge and the whole situation, brother.
Well, I'd said, months ago that basically the AL most valuable player was Judges to lose. He's been the best player in the American League all year, and then for him to make this record, this accomplishment, that's about 60 something years old. I can remember actually being about 93 or 94, and Ken Griffey Jr. was actually chasing the record. He was chasing Maris, and I had a Sports Illustrated magazine issue, and it had him on the cover, and it said "Chasing Roger" on it. So for Judge, and he didn't get a chance to reach that, but for Judge to have reached it is huge for him. I'm happy for him. You know, um, the debates come up of is he the real home run king? That's subjective. I will say this much though is the New York. This definitely gives the New York Yankees a huge leverage in the playoffs. You got him, you got Stanton, and the rest of them out there. I mean, it's huge. It's great. I'm happy for him that he did this. He also had his parents in attendance. That's awesome to be able to do it in front of your folks, and it was great. I really loved it for him.
All right, let me go to the halftime show zone, Cortland Griffin. I see you wearing that Yankee hat, sir. Talk to me about this.
so this is crazy. Because for me, it rides a lot deeper. Y'all see the Yankee hat. It's not just a fashion statement for me. I'm a true diehard Yankees fan. I get to saw history twice. I saw him tie the record, and then I also saw him. I was actually in JFK, the airport, when he hit the 62nd. So it's huge. I think it's a big time thing. But let's not talk about just the home runs, but let's talk about the fact that he's at 207 weighted runs created. He joins an illustrious group now. Like he's going to end the season in an illustrious group. Only four other Yankees have ever done it, or three other Yankees have ever done it, and those are the Holy Trinity: Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth. He joins that group now as one of the four pinstripe Bronx Bombers to ever reach 200 plus weighted runs created. That's huge. He can also win the Triple Crown, of course, like you said, AL MVP, and then of course Roger Maris's record. Having that, the culmination of just being able to see it and watch it happen in real time, this may be the greatest batting season, complete batting season, offensive season that we've ever seen.
Okay. Listen, like I said, I tip my hat to the man for doing something that not many people are many people have chased, and not many people have been successful in doing. But this is something that we need to take a moment and appreciate this. Now, I am still of the mindset that, listen, I still say Barry Bonds is the home run king at 73. And I know we can get into several discussions. I don't want to go down that pigeonhole tonight. We'll save that for another conversation. But in this moment, I cannot ignore what this young man has done. John Shear, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, I think it's completely asinine to say this is one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen. I mean, he didn't hit almost 200 RBIs, did he? He didn't hit like 415, did he? No, like not even close. So like, let's pump the brakes on saying it's one of the greatest offensive seasons we've ever seen, because I mean, he didn't break the average record. He didn't break the like he didn't break all the RBI record. Like, I get he hit 62, but let's just chill on that. I mean, congratulations to him. He has the AL record. You can slice it how you want. If you want to call him the all-time home run king, or if you want to say he's 7th all-time, it really doesn't bother me either way, because everybody has an opinion now. I guess my question is just like, do you consider Barry Bonds a Hall of Famer? Like, if you call Barry Bonds the all-time home run king, you also got to call him a Hall of Famer as well. But if you don't, then you consider Aaron Judge the home run king. So like, you got to make sure you follow, you got to make sure you stick with Bonds or you don't, or you stick with Aaron Judge or you don't, but you can't deviate. And you know what I mean? So I don't know. Congratulations, Aaron Judge. I think the Yankees are stupid, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I think they're stupid.
So John, riddle me this, Batman. Why are you calling let's just get into it. Why are you calling the Yankees stupid, John?
Yeah, I mean, when you have everything wrapped up and Aaron Judge has injury problems, why are you playing him in meaningless games? Like, what you're chasing a record? Like, what happens if Aaron Judge would have got hurt? If you're a Yankee fan, Cortland, and Aaron Judge got hurt before the record, before he broke 62, would you have been happy? Like, say he missed the entire playoffs because you're chasing this record in the meaningless games after they've clinched everything they can clinch in the AL. They can't do anything else. You're playing him in meaningless games. Say he got hit on the hand by a fastball inside. He broke his hand. He's out for the playoffs. Are you going to be like, yeah, it was worth it to chase the record? You're going to be upset.
So my question would be, what is and this is why I love getting into these kind of conversations. What is the likelihood of that happening? Like, what is the likelihood? What is the likelihood of a guy who they're literally pitching against to walk intentionally?
Do you remember 2012 when right before the season ended, when you guys being Nick Markakis on the hand, broke his hand, and he didn't play in the playoffs for us in 2012? You remember that? You guys did that to us? That was one of our best hitters, and you hit him on the hand, broke his hand. Like, it happens.
Were people pitching to intentionally walk Markakis? No, they were not.
They're not intentionally walking Judge. Watch the Orioles series. How many times they strike him out?
They were literally pitching. Literally, I saw a guy literally put him on base just so they would not give him a chance to hit one. We're talking about a guy that they pitch away from. We're talking about a guy that they pitch away from consistently.
Okay, so why are you playing him at all?
Because he's that close to the record. You hit 60.
Okay,
he hit 61, and then he hit 62.
Okay.
You have a chance to get a record here.
What happens if he gets hurt? Say he rolls his ankle. Say anything bad happened.
We're talking
while that happened.
John, what we can't do and what we're not going to do is we're not going to water down a man's accomplishments with what else and hypotheticals. It's not watered down an accomplishment.
It has nothing to do with that.
We can't.
It has everything to do with the Yankees being reckless. It's like going into Week 18 of the NFL.
So what were you going to do? Tell Aaron Judge, hey, we know you have a chance at history. We know that you want the record, but we're going to sit you and then possibly you lose momentum. Do you think that's fair to the
other guys on the team? Do you think that's fair to Stanton and
all
the guys that are working?
Yes, because they all wanted to see him. They all wanted to see him break the record. Again, let's just take let's take the journalist hats off. Let's talk from an athlete's perspective. If I'm a player, right? If let's say I'm a player and I want to see my teammate, he has a chance at history. Do you think I care about whether or not he gets hurt? No, he wants to chase the record. Let's let him chase the record. Also, as an athlete,
You
if
answered
I
the
have a
question.
chance to make history, then what I'm not going to go do is I'm going to push my manager, I'm going to push my coach, and I'm going to say, hey, I don't care what the likelihood of me turning an ankle, running around first base is, or whatever. I'm chasing history. I'm this close. I got 22 innings left to get the record. I'm 2 hits away from getting the record. Let me go out
And
there
who
and at
has
least
to
hit the
answer for
plate.
that when he gets injured? The manager does.
Well, he
Not
does
the
as well
player.
because
But he
but
does
John,
as
let me
well.
But
interject really
they're going to
quick.
say the manager shouldn't have listened to the player because the manager's the manager and the player's just a player.
John, I listen. We just had
It's
this conversation.
reckless.
We just had this conversation the other day, and you know what? To a degree, as you know, very rarely I am on your side. However, sometimes, and speaking from a fan's perspective now, not an athlete, not a coach, not a manager, as a fan, if I know he's that close, I want to see it. I'm tuning in to watch it.
So
And
let
then
me ask you this, Eric. You get to week 18 and the Eagles have number 1 seed locked up and Jalen Hurts is close to a record. Are you going to be like, yeah, roll Jalen Hurts out there? Are you going to be like, yo, no. Like, I can't
What
risk.
record are we talking about?
It
Be
doesn't matter.
specific.
Like
No,
a
no, it
record.
does. It does because certain.
Say the
Yes,
pass and
John.
touchdown record.
Say
Say the pass
again.
and touchdown
I,
record. Are you
I'm
willing
sorry.
to
Say it
roll
again, John.
Jalen Hurts out there and potentially get him hurt to ruin your Super Bowl chances?
Well, no. What was the record?
Like passing touchdowns in a season.
Single season passing
Yeah.
touchdowns?
Yeah.
Yes, I would say roll. Yes, I would say put him out there. Yes, I would.
And just to give some credence to your hypothetical, right? Last year, Devontae Smith could have been hurt in a game that was meaningless for the Philadelphia Eagles. And what did their wide receiver coach go out do? Trotted them out, literally ran a play to the sideline for a 2-yard reception that got him the rookie receptions record for the Eagles. Like we see this happen in sports over and over again. Like
And
we see this happen. Coaches want it, players want it, teammates want it.
And I'll just add one more thing, and that is imagine the backlash if it doesn't happen. Because if you sit Aaron Judge, and Courtland, you probably agree, if you sit Aaron Judge and he doesn't get the record, we're saving him for the playoffs. You know what Yankees fans are thinking? We better win the World Series.
Right.
We better, because if not, sitting him was for nothing. It was all for naught. You may as well have let him get the record.
Right.
I'm not of that mindset. The only thing that matters is winning the championship.
I understand
that's what
that,
you
John.
play for.
But do you
Otherwise,
understand?
it's selfish. Otherwise, it's selfish because it's not fair to any of the other guys. If your best player goes down, those guys, they don't have a chance anymore at winning it. If you take Aaron Judge off the Yankees in the playoffs, they're not winning the World Series. How's that fair to the
John,
other?
I got a question. So, John, I have a question. Just as the incumbent Yankees fan here, right? Let's say you walk into the Yankees locker room right now. You have to look Trevino in his face. You have to look Giancarlo Stanton in his face. You have to look Rizzo in his face. You have to look all of these guys that are in this batting rotation that have been in this locker room and looked at Aaron Judge across from that locker room and say, hey, man, you have a chance. Go out there and do what you do best, and that's hit home runs. And you have to go in there and look as a manager, look in their face and say, hey, we're deading him. He's at 60. We're deading him for the rest of the season because we're going to go to the playoffs, and that's been a lock since the beginning of the year. We knew the Yankees were going to go to the playoffs since the beginning of the season when they started hot, right? We knew this. We didn't know that Aaron Judge was going to go on a tear and hit and have a chance to catch Roger Maris. His teammates knew he had a chance to get this record, and you're talking about sitting a man who was literally 2 runs away.
I would do that every single time. I'm of the same mindset that
that's the easiest way to lose. That's the easiest way to lose a locker room.
And the manager wants, if you have a no-hitter going and a manager wants to pull a guy, I'm not upset by it. I understand. I see the bigger picture. It's not about the selfish awards. It's about the team.
I understand what you're saying, John. But if your teammates are the ones pushing and driving it harder than you are,
you got to be a smarter manager than that.
And
be smarter than that.
But I really feel like you're not. I understand. I understand your opinion. I really do. Don't get it twisted. But what I am saying to you though is because of where he was, because of the time frame, and because of the record of where he was at, wearing that pinstripe uniform, John, you already know there is a higher level of elevated. Just we are going to get this. because this then leads into my next topic, which unfortunately we can't get to tonight. So we are going to table this right now. But trust me when I tell you, there will be a future Sports Arena Aaron Judge conversation because there are so many ways we could break this down, but we got so
Yep.
much to get to.
Just
I
count
want to
me
make
in.
sure. Oh, Cortland, you're coming back. Don't even sweat it. We're going to have this plus then some. Let us get to the next topic here tonight on the Sports Arena. And it is simply as this. Gentlemen, with the NFC South as currently constructed, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers still the favorite to win the division? Sniper, talk to me.
I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and reason being is because I'm looking at the other teams now. You had a Saints team, and not saying it's going to be like this for the rest of the year, but as of right now, you got Andy Dalton at quarterback. You got an injured Jameis Winston. You also got the Panthers, and you know who they are, and then you got the Falcons. You know who they are. They got Marcus Mariota and Baker Mayfield. So, I mean, you still got Brady, whether you feel like he regressed or not, and I can kind of see how he has a little bit, but he still got Fournette. He still got that defense. I've got the Bucs running away with this division still.
John Shear?
Yeah, I mean, until Matt Rule gets fired and until Marcus Mariota gets benched, and whatever you stroll out there for the Saints, I mean, it doesn't really matter because neither one of them is very good. And Jameis Winston has 4 fractures. And that's not going to heal on its own. That's 4 fractures in the back. So, I mean, there's no competition in this division. Like, Brady's got to go up against what? Like, it's by default like you're going to win the division. I mean, none of these other teams are very good at the best position, the most important position. None of those teams are any good at that position, and by default, the Bucs win.
But John, let me present this to you, sir, and then I do want to get to Cortland. Tampa and Atlanta are both 2-2.
I understand that.
Carolina and the Saints are both 1-3. So right now, 4 games in, a quarter of the season, no one in this division is running away with it. And if I remember correctly,
You have to have context.
hold on, let me finish. We anticipated that the Bucs would basically win out their division and pretty much go 6-0. If Marcus Mariota and the Falcons this Sunday come to Raymond James and beat Tampa, we might be having this same conversation next week. I just want to let you know.
You
But
got to have
in a
context,
division-
Eric.
In a division where everything is kind of still up for grabs, Atlanta is winning games that we did not expect them to be winning.
Look,
I'll say that.
Look,
That's true.
when you look at not all 2-2s or 3-1s are created equally. The Giants
Fair.
are 3-1, the Dolphins are 3-1. Big difference. The Bucs
Mhm.
and the Falcons are 2-2. There's a big difference. The Bucs lost to the Packers and they lost to the Chiefs. Like, come on, it's not like they lost to like bad teams. They lost to 2 teams that are going to be deep in the thick of things. They're not going to play those teams every week. They're going to go 6-0 in the division, and it's not going to be close. Like, that's
hope
what I'm
so.
saying is the
We hope
Falcons
so.
just, I mean, Marcus Mariota is not very good. He's turning the ball over every game. When they play this Sunday, Marcus Mariota is going to get beat up. He's going to get beat up bad. They don't even run routes for Kyle Pitts.
Listen,
Like the best player you got, and you don't even run routes for him. like-
Cordero Patterson is on IR, so that does play a factor.
Yeah.
And I know, the Bucs losing 2 in a row, it does not set well. This team's going to come out with a house of fire. Cortland, give me your thoughts, and then I'll talk to you guys about mine.
I agree with Denzel and John for some of the same reasons, some for different reasons. The rest of the division is still underwater. I mean, the Falcons are 2-2, like y'all said, but like 2-2 are all 2-2s are not created the same, right? We have a lot of 2-2 teams right now, but each team in that division, I can understand why it's up in the air. Each team in that division is the 2 bottom teams are 1 win away from being 2-3, and the 2 top teams are 1 loss away from being 2-3. Like, I get it, right? But who has the best quarterback in the division? Tampa Bay. Who has the best receiving core in the division? Tampa Bay. Who has still the best defense in that division? Tampa Bay. Who has the best coaching staff in that division? Tampa Bay. If you check all of those boxes, I don't care if they go out there on Sunday and get trounced by the Falcons. They still gonna be the favorites to win the division. We saw this happen last year with the Kansas City Chiefs. Started slow, third in the division, bottom of the division, and what did they do second half of the year? They beat the Cowboys, and all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes looked like Patrick Mahomes again, and he's got them in the playoffs. It's still Tom Brady under center, regressed or not. He's still better than the 85% Marcus Mariota and 100%. You confuse P.J. Walker, Baker Mayfield, and Sam Darnold together, and they're not going to be Tom Brady's cleats. So, the Bucs are still the favorites.
I do got to say that would be one awful quarterback if you fuse them together.
Yeah.
What up,
Eric? Quick question, real quick. And to John's point, and Cortland emphasized off it also, because not all 2-2s are equal. The Ravens are 2-2. Do you still have them winning the North?
Yes.
They lost to the Dolphins in a wild game, and they lost to the Bills.
I still have the Ravens coming out of the AFC North. Okay, listen, I'm just asking the question based on what we've seen now, because it's very rare that Brady, since we're talking quarterbacks, loses back-to-back games. And my argument is it takes more than one man to win or lose a game. A lot of times we put all the credit or all the blame on one man. However, there are 52 others who make up what happens on that field. And I still always will say this. When it comes to division games, you throw the rule book and everything else out the window, because anything and everything is possible. So it's very difficult for me to right now, looking at this team, to say to myself, you are still the default. You are still the proverbial favorite to come out of this division as the division winner. Because we could look at the schedules and say, okay, John, to your point, if Matt Rule was to get fired, let's say this team goes 1-4 in the Carolina Panthers, and Matt Rule is fired, and then the interim head coach comes in and finds a way to get it working with Carolina. We know what Carolina is capable of. Are they on the Bucs level? Probably not. But if they start winning, that shifts our opinion.
I also want to point out, because I haven't heard this at all this year, and I've always felt this way. I've always felt Todd Bowles is a bad head coach. Not a bad coach in general. I think he's a good coordinator and stuff. I think he's a good mentor for players and stuff. But a head coach, I just don't believe in him as a head coach. And I feel like if they would have Bruce Arians, I feel like they would be playing better. I don't know if that's fair to you guys or not, but I like Bruce Arians as a head coach more than I like Todd Bowles.
I don't think that's fair.
Todd Bowles, the last time you saw Todd Bowles and the head coaching roles with the Jets, and no one with the Jets has been successful.
Right, but I've seen enough for me to say I just don't like him as a head coach. I like him as a defensive coordinator a lot, but I like Bruce Arians as a head coach. And I felt like they would be better off with Bruce Arians because he also knows the offense, and then you just give the defense to Todd Bowles.
But you know what, though? People said, but John, here's my issue with that. People said that about Bruce Arians when he left Arizona, right? People was like, I don't really like him as a head coach. I don't know if he's the guy. He's too much of a aloof. He's too hard on players. He doesn't have the greatest reputation around the league as a player guy. But I'm saying when a guy only has one other stop where he didn't have success, and then he comes to a team, right? Bruce Arians, people loved Bruce Arians after that. Why? Because he won a Super Bowl.
No,
and he had Tom Brady at the center. He had talent.
Guys just aren't meant to be head coaches. I say this all the time. Some coordinators just aren't meant for that role. Like Hackett. I've seen enough already from Hackett to where I'm like, this guy doesn't have it for the Broncos. It's been a couple games, but I've seen enough. I don't typically jump to that, but
John, what I'm saying is let a guy get a full season where he has a team that is capable. You still have, like I said, you still got Tom Brady, who's better than any quarterback in that division. You still got one of the best running back cores in the division. You still got the best, hands down, the best wide receiver core in the division. And then if Chris Godwin comes back this year, you got him, Russell Gage, Scotty Miller, Scotty Miller, and you got Mike Evans. It's the sky's the limit for that team. Again, when you added these new pieces, it's taking some time to kind of chug through some of the hiccups and stuff. Tom Brady will right the ship. Todd Bowles is going to have that defense playing. We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, the defense is playing, but the offense doesn't quite look,
The only credence that I give to Eric's point with the division games is history says the Saints have had the Bucs number the last couple of years. That's
Up
probably the
until
only
this year,
team.
and I mean,
Right.
this year it
Yeah,
took
this year.
Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore getting into a fight and getting
Right.
ejected in order for Brady and the rest of the Bucks to wake up and say, "No, we taking this game and we
Right.
gonna stop this madness." All right, let's
Right.
keep it going. Really quick,
Mm.
gentlemen, I got a real quick question I want to ask you, and I'm gonna give everybody 30 seconds. We're just gonna go around the clock. I'll go Sniper, then I'll go John, and then I'll go Cortland. So really quick, the Commanders running back Brian Robinson was cleared to practice. Simple, gentlemen. Is he going to be a difference maker in the Washington offense? Like I said, Sniper, I'm a solo shot, everybody. You get 30 seconds. You will be on the clock. Then we'll go John, and then we'll go Cortland. Go ahead.
Well, you got Brian Robinson coming back, added to McKissick and also Antonio Gibson with the ground game. I believe that will help. I'm not sitting here crowning them, division champs this year or even next year, but they may be able, the three of them, to take some of the pressure off of Carson Wentz. I can foresee them, if he gets going and he has the motor, the rubber to the road, I believe that he can act. They can turn into a true run-heavy team and make a hell of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, Gibson has just been terrible this year. He already had lost a job in preseason to Robinson, and Robinson is going to eventually get the job back once he's ready. They're going to limit his snaps and kind of work him in after everything. But this was Gibson's job, and he didn't even take it these first 4 weeks. So once Robinson's all up to speed, I think he's going to be a huge difference maker. I absolutely love this kid.
I'm gonna keep it simple. 29th in rush play percentage, 21st in yards per carry, 21st in yards per game, 20th in touchdowns. Carson Wentz has been sacked the most in the NFL this season at 17. It's not Brian Robinson's job to come in and make a difference. It's the offensive line. And I don't care what anybody says, what anybody can give all the kudos to the young man. It's awful what happened to him, but he can't make a difference if the five big guys up front are not pushing piles. I'm sorry. It's got to change.
Okay. Fair enough. Gentlemen, we're going to take a real quick break, about 20 seconds. When we come back, we're going to jump out to the NFC West. I got a question I need to ask you, gentlemen, about the champs. More with the crew. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the sports arena on a Wednesday night. Your man Eric Wilson alongside Blue Hawks 13 and Sideline Sports own John Scheer. My brother Denzel the Sniper from the Sideline Sports Network, Cupfidential, Basket Bros, Gauntlet Podcast, among others. And then our special guest from the halftime show with Cortland Griffin, the one and only Cortland Griffin with us. All right, gentlemen, I want to jump out to the NFC West because like I asked you about the Bucks, I'm going to ask you about the Rams. Are the Rams still the favorite to win the NFC West? John Scheer.
Yep, they have to be. I mean, they're reigning Super Bowl champs. You signed Bobby Wagner. The Allen Robinson thing clearly doesn't seem to be working out. The offensive line, you lost Whitworth from last year. The offensive line seems to just be in shambles. I don't know what you can do to fix it at this point. Something nobody's really mentioned is, they lost Kevin O'Connell. That, to me, I thought that was going to be a big loss. He went to Minnesota to be their head coach, and I thought that would make a big difference, and it seems to have made a big difference. For some reason, Stafford's reverting back to Detroit Stafford, where when he had Calvin Johnson, that was the only person he would throw to. He's doing the same thing with Cooper Kupp, which, from a fantasy team, that's great. But from an NFL perspective, you got to get other guys more involved. You got to find a way to get Allen Robinson involved. You're paying him a boatload of money. This guy's got to be involved. For some reason, I have no idea why, you trade away Robert Woods, who was the glue in that locker room. He was the guy. Everybody loved him. He was the glue guy. Traded him to Tennessee for, I don't know why. But I thought that was really dumb of the Rams to do. I felt like Robert Woods really was a big difference maker on and off the field there. And I still think they're the favorites, but much like the Bucks, like they don't quite look the same.
All right. So Snipes, let me come to you right now and ask you this question because unlike the NFC South, everybody in the NFC West is in fact 2-2. Now I know we're not stack ranking and saying these 2-2s don't look like these 2-2s, but they are all maintaining that pace, that course of at the very least staying with whoever's in front. And at any time, this could very much be like the AFC West of last year, where
Right.
one week this team is up top and the next week they're on the third. And then, so talk to me about that and more importantly about the Rams.
Well, seems like it's the Wild Wild West all over again. Granted, at any time, a comet to strike Earth, and lo and behold, Seattle is leading the division. But still got a whole lot to play. Arizona, I still need to see more from them because we've seen this before. We've seen them start off like 7-0 and then fall off, not all the way off the cliff. They still made the playoffs and they got destroyed by the Rams in the first round. So I still got them at a wild card right about now. Let's see, we have Seattle, Phoenix, San Francisco. So I don't want anyone to get anything twisted as far as the other night because, truth be told, the last 7-8 meetings that San Francisco has gotten the Rams in the regular season. The Rams' only victory this whole time was in the NFC Championship game. It could be a prisoner of the moment-ish statement if someone were to say, "Well, I got San Fran winning the division right now." The Rams, all it takes is that one big stage to get it together, and you saw what happened just in January. I still got the Rams doing it. The crazy stat is Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl while leading the league in interceptions last year. He threw 18. But this means that everyone else on the team stepped up. And I mean, Matt wasn't terrible, regardless of whether you think he's an all-time great or not. If he's Detroit Matt Stafford, if he's LA Rams Matt Stafford or something. I mean, it's a tight race right now. It's real tight, But at any given time, that gap could widen. But seeing as it's the West, I don't see it as a runaway like, say, the NFC North with the Packers and then everybody else. It may come down to the last 2 weeks of the season. So, like you said the other night, Eric, I'm gonna bridge what you said the other night to now. Let's look at this around November, late November.
All right, fair enough. Cortland, give me your thoughts.
Tell me, I can't disagree with nothing they all said. I'm just gonna put it this way, like you said, and everyone has said it pretty much. They are all even kill at 2-2 right now. We have to table this conversation until someone pulls away. The other night, I think, like you said, it's a flash in the pan moment. It's a reason to be afraid while watching how it happened. But I didn't see the one rushing play, the running back catches the pitch off the right side and runs it in from 22 yards out. Aaron Donald's not on the field. You get what I'm saying? It's just little stuff like that you got to really pay attention to. How often is Aaron Donald not going to be on the field and you're going to be able to run the ball like that on the, on the Rams? It's not often. Jalen Ramsey last year got cooked a lot last year. and in the Super Bowl, he got cooked and would have been for what would have been the touchdown, winning touchdown to Jamar Chase, right? If it wasn't for Aaron Donald up front causing havoc. We know these are things that have played the Rams. They still managed to win a Super Bowl last year. This is no reason to panic. They can still win this division, just like the Bucks. We just talked about the Bucks earlier. New Orleans Saints have been a humbug for the Bucks the last couple of years. The 49ers have been a humbug for the Rams the last couple of years. Who's been to the Super Bowl twice? Who's been to the Super Bowl once? Okay, we gotta not be prisoners of the moment here and understand winners win. Sean McVay is one of the best young head coaches in the league, and I should say they shouldn't even say young. One of the best head coaches in the league. He always has that team prepared, and they always seem to bounce back from hard losses. Last year they got curb stomped by the Titans. What did they do the next week? You know what I'm saying? We got to look at the Rams for what it is. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes the team's gonna go out. That's why it's any given Sunday. A team can lose, and any team can lose on any given night.
In those
Mike
moments,
Tenuta answer.
well, no, and all valid points. But in those moments, I have to say we have become, and I feel even, and this is the fan in me talking. Okay, this is not the media, this is not the analyst, the commentator, the journalist, whatever. This is the fan in me talking. when you don't play in preseason, I don't really get to see what you've worked on mechanics wise. And then you start to play in the regular season, and I'm seeing guys like Geno Smith basically pick up where Russ left off and is maintaining the course. He's not dominating this division, but he's going out there and he's a game manager. All right. Now, you may not like the man, but the fact of the matter is they are 2-2. Okay. I still say God bless Trey Lance. We want to see that young man back. I don't want his career over before it started. But the fact is that Jimmy G, under Kyle Shanahan, has a 33 and 14 record or whatever the number is when he starts for the San Francisco 49ers. You know, George Kittle may not have played the first game or two, so we were waiting to see him come back. You know, it's one of those things where when I look at the San Francisco 49ers and when I look at this entire NFC West division, I think I have to ask myself, when we said that a West team in the NFL was going to be beating up on each other as well as beating up on everybody else, did we pick the wrong West team, the West division? Should we have said the NFC was going to be arguably the toughest division? Because when I look across the board and I look at the other divisions in the NFL, there is starting to become a separation. Some teams are trying to maintain course. I mean, let's think about this for 1 second. And this is not because it's my division, but it's a fact. If you look at all the teams in each conference, do you know which division has the most wins? The NFC East. Okay? A division that a year ago, 2 years ago, people were like, oh, they're the worst division in football. These teams can't even win more than 8 games. Philly is undefeated, the last undefeated team. And the Giants and the Cowboys have a backup quarterback, are both 3-1 right now. Okay? So I'm looking at all this, and again, as a fan, I'm saying to myself, the landscape, I believe, is slowly changing. So when I go to the NFC West, you have 3 things that I have seen in years past: Jimmy Garoppolo, Matthew Stafford last year and now this year, Kyler Murray. One of those things is not like the other, but yet he's maintaining and has in this team to where they're not 0-4. They're not 1-3. But I can't say that the Rams are 3-1.
Well,
So it begs me to say this is something that, yes, come November, we're going to have a better idea. But right now, everybody in the NFC West is like, okay, we can't afford to win. And we also maybe could afford to lose based on the matchups. That divisional play is going to be very telling.
Let's not forget that the Niners lost an ugly game against the Broncos on Sunday Night Football. Let's just because they beat the Rams like they did, let's not forget that ugly game. Let's not forget the Cardinals. I mean, they only beat the hapless Raiders and they beat the hapless Panthers. Like, they beat the Raiders in a weird, wild, game that they never should have came back, but they did. That was like a weird, really weird comeback against a bad Raiders. I think a bad Raiders team. You beat the Panthers, like that's your 2 wins. Seahawks, you beat the Broncos in an emotional game against Russ. And then you also beat the Lions. Like, so all these teams have kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, they all have 2 wins, but you can also look at them and say like we're not impressed by any of these teams yet. Like, none of these teams have come out and said like, hey, here's our statement win. This is what makes us look good. Like, all these teams have kind of sort of beat up on bottom feeding teams and had weird wins. And so, like, I'm not impressed by anybody yet in this division.
But let's be honest, the Rams' 2 losses have come against a division opponent and arguably, regardless of their win-loss record, the best team in the NFL and the Bills. We got to really look at it and say, like, and we got to call it what it is.
Right.
If we're going to put context, but hold on, if we're going to put context on things, let's be honest. The Bills ran through the Rams in week 1.
Yes.
Like a hot knife through butter. Ran through them. And then, of course, we saw the 49ers do what they've done the last 4 or 5 seasons. Beat up on the Rams. Like, it just is what it is. Again, Come back. Let's come back November, December, around week 10, like 9, 10, and then let's see what these teams look like. Because again, I've seen it happen. Guys, teams always come back to the party. The Seahawks ain't gonna be able to maintain this.
And the funny thing is,
the Cardinals have shown they start the season off even keel or super hot, and they slow down.
They're just not a good football team. The Cardinals just are not a good football team. Okay. But we talked about this at the beginning of the season. Like, the NFC is completely wide open for a wild card, like outside division winners. Anybody can go and get a wild card because you really don't know who's going to be in, like, getting a wild card, because there's really not any teams like outside of your Philly, outside of your Green Bay, outside of your Tampa, and most likely the Rams or Niners. Like, you really don't know what to expect wild card wise, because the Vikings, like, we thought they looked good beating the Packers, but then they don't really look that good. The Giants are like they're a fluke 3-1. We know that. They haven't really done anything. Like, and the Cowboys defense is playing absolutely amazing. Nobody's really talking about that. Their defense playing amazing. I need to see more from that offense, because if they get into a shootout with Cooper Rush there, they're not winning a game. Like, they've won these games because that defense has been absolutely fantastic. Yeah. The run game has stepped up for the most part for them through these three-game winning streak. But I think Dallas and San Fran will probably take the 2 wild cards, and then who knows who else, but that's probably 2 of the wild cards, and then
John, here's a funny
like
stat.
I said, so it's up in the air in the NFC.
John, here's a funny stat for you, and then I'm going to give Denzel the final word because we got our picks for the Thursday and the London game. I know it's only 4 weeks in, but I saw someone post this. If the playoffs were to start today, do you realize that 3 teams from the NFC East would all be in?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's only 4 weeks in. I'm just saying.
Daniel Jones would be starting the game.
Yeah, we don't know who the quarterback will be for that team. But let's get to the Thursday night picks, because it is the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Denver Broncos. So, Cortland, I'm going to start with you, sir. Who do you think is going to come away as the victor?
Hey, call this some like divine combination or something. But I think the Broncos put them horseshoes on and trample on them boys. I think Russell Wilson is hungry for a win. It hasn't been a great showing for him in Denver like we thought it was going to be, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's still Russell Wilson. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He still has the talent. He's been there, done that. And the Colts don't look very good. That defense is not – this is the 3rd year in a row that they've hyped that defense up, and they haven't shown the promise that the talent on paper says they have. I think Denver comes out, shows the potential that they have flashed in a couple of games, and actually bring it full circle and take a Thursday night game.
I look at this game and I really want to side with the Denver Broncos, but the fact that even though you can call it a fluke win, you can call it a hiccup in the Kansas City's Chiefs armor, whatever you want to call it, the Colts are finally starting to figure out who they are. And it's a Thursday night game. It's a short week. I know it's at Mile High, and that plays such a huge factor. The altitude does, of course. But I again, don't like agreeing with John, but I've seen enough of Nathaniel Hackett to know that maybe he is not cut out to be a head coach. I am going to give him a full season. I'm not going to just ride the brother off right now. But you know what? I'm taking the Colts in this one. I just really feel like there's something Matt Ryan has started to figure it out, and I think he's going to go in, and I can't really say surprise people, but I feel as though that's something that we're going to be talking about on Friday, how the Colts were able to win despite some of the odds being against them. Denzel, who you got winning this game?
You know what? My gut's telling me Indy. Because Indy has been like the most unpredictable team this season. You look at week 1, they tied the Texans. Week 2, shut out by Jacksonville. Week 3, beat Kansas City. And then they lost by, I think it was a touchdown to the Titans just last week. The X factor is Nathaniel Hackett and Denver's offense. They're still figuring it out. The Colts, they know who they are. Now, yes, it came out today that Jonathan Taylor's going to be out. However, I think that the defense is going to do just enough, and the running game is going to do just enough. And Matt Ryan, who still got it, he might be running on fumes. He may have a fourth of a tank left, but I think he does enough to will this team to victory. I don't have it in a runaway, I think it's going to be a touchdown game, but I'm going to pick Indy on this one. Something's telling me to go ahead and pick Indianapolis. I'm going to listen to my gut. Indy it is.
Hey, Denzel, hey man, running on fumes in a fourth of a tank. That's about a $4 difference with the economy right now.
You ain't lying, bro. You ain't lying.
That's facts right there. We dropping knowledge. John Shear, who you like in this matchup?
2 times you guys said in your analysis, we know who the Colts are. Do we? Like, I don't know who the Colts are. They beat the Chiefs, but yet they got shut out by Jacksonville and they tied the Texans. And then they were getting stomped by the Titans at home, but then they made a furious comeback. Like, Jonathan Taylor looks awful. I mean, Shaq Leonard is looking to make his debut this season off of his injury, off his surgery. Like, we don't know who the Colts are. You guys were talking about, oh, Matt Ryan's really turned a corner. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, he has 8 turnovers in 4 games. Yeah, definitely turning the corner. When you're turning the ball over 2 times a game, you've already turned it over 8 times in 4 games. Like, I don't know what the Colts are. Their identity is Jonathan Taylor in that offensive line, and you got no Jonathan Taylor. Matt Ryan's looked really bad to start the season. So I don't know what the Colts are. And I know the Broncos have a fantastic defense. The defense is scary. The offense may not be there yet, but the defense is really, really good. I got to go Broncos in this. I mean, even though, I don't trust Hackett, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are playing a lot better, even though they lost Javonte Williams, who wasn't playing well. I just think with Russ, they're going to have to let him cook. And the Colts haven't figured anything out. You know, they got a lucky win against Kansas City. Kansas City beat themselves. Like, if they don't commit those penalties the last drive of the game, Colts don't win that game. And we're talking about a winless Colts team. So the Broncos are a way better team, better defense than the Colts. And Russ is way better than Matt Ryan as a QB. I trust Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy way more than I trust Michael Pittman and whoever the hell else they got.
Hey, John. Hey, you say a lot of things that I don't agree with, but anytime there's Colt slander, I love it.
Hey, you turned the ball over 8 times in 4 games.
Anytime you say trust somebody with the first name Cortland, it's music to my ears.
Hey, you're a Titans fan, right? You remember Cortland Finnegan?
All right. So since we won't be back till Monday, and I usually don't get the picks till 10 p.m. Shout out Tyree. So we're gonna go to the London game, which does feature Aaron Rodgers versus, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, Saquon Barkley. Gentlemen, who do we like in this matchup? Denzel, I'm gonna start with you on this one.
All I've heard is the Giants are back. Big Blue is back. They coming back down to earth come Sunday morning. Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones, the Aaron connection, is going to put it on the Giants on Sunday. It's not going to be a close affair like the Saints and the Vikings. Everybody got their money's worth of that game. And we were seeing Andy Dalton versus Kirk Cousins, who a lot of y'all have at the same level, but, whatever. This one, the only one that's going to come out is Saquon Barkley. He may run for 100, but the rest of them, man, I got Green Bay 31-10. It's not going to be close, y'all.
John Shear.
I can't believe you put Kirk Cousins and Andy Dalton on the same level. That makes no sense. Kirk Cousins is 10th all time in passing yards per game for a career. So, let's
okay,
not
John,
even
see,
go
you
there.
made it 50 minutes before I had to do that. You made it because he knows I'm not a Cousins fan. I knew it. He made it. He made it.
He was that close to making it the whole show. He had 11 minutes.
He had less than that. He had less than that. But John, go ahead. Who you picking in this game, man?
I mean, what I saw from that defensive line for the Green Bay Packers against the Patriots was just they're ferocious, and the line for the Giants has been really bad. Their first round pick Neal he has not been very good. He got demolished against Dallas a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Football, and if he goes up, he's going to have to go up against this defensive line of the Packers. I just don't, and there's no receivers. Like, Golladay has no heart, no effort, no soul, nothing. I know Barkley because I'm on fantasy. He's just been amazing, and he's going to get his. But Daniel Jones is bad. The offensive line's bad. I can't say they're going to blow them out only because, like, we saw what Aaron Rodgers did against Bailey Zapp and the Patriots. Like, he couldn't take advantage of that, and he had to come down to a last-second field goal in overtime as the clock expired to beat Bailey Zapp and the New England Patriots. So, like, I'm not going to say they blow them out, but the defense of the Packers is going to dominate, and the Packers win easily.
All right. Cortland, who you got in this matchup?
I'm gonna go for the clean sweep. It's the Green Bay Packers. It's easy, right? I will say this though. This is the first time that you'll have two winning teams playing in London, so that's a good thing. But like y'all said, the Giants are gonna come back down to earth. It's Saquon Barkley show right now, and if you shut him down, if you make him have to work hard, then it's pretty easy to get the Giants out of there. I will say this: the Packers and Aaron Rodgers haven't looked like themselves in the past. But we got to remember, Aaron Rodgers is dealing with a brand new, essentially brand new receiving core from the bottom up. And it's going to take time to get that chemistry going. But I will say this, you will see a lot of, we ain't heard it in a long time, but the shrooms have worn off and you'll hear a lot of Rodgers, discount double check in London.
So the shrooms were off.
Okay. All right. Sometimes when this happens, I go lone wolf just because
Eric, there's a reason you're under 500. Don't do it. Don't do it.
John, I let you talk during your segment till you got a little crazy. Then I had to shut you down. Please be quiet for a second. Thank you. I pay close attention to the teams within my division because I see them twice a year. Unlike the three of you, you gentlemen take care of your teams within your division because you need to know what you need to know. Saquon Barkley looks like Saquon Barkley when he first came out. Okay? The tread on them tires is still fresh, but that's due to injury that he has had to sustain. But again, I don't know who the quarterback is. Is it Daniel Jones? Is it Tyrod Taylor? Is it a third string, fourth string? I have no clue. The wide receivers are the issue because, quite frankly, they don't have any. Now, listen, Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers. But the one thing I've always said in the past is it just seems like when Jacksonville travels to London, they look like world beaters. So I'm curious to see if that sense and that kind of bizarro world, if you will, is going to happen again this Sunday. Against my better judgment, because there is something still, like Denzel was talking about his gut. My gut is telling me go against the grain because it's in London. If this was in Lambeau or at the Meadowlands, there'd be no question. It'd be Green Bay all day long. I am going to go for the clean sweep here. I am, in fact, going to pick the Packers. But please make no mistake about it. If somehow, some way, the New York Football Giants come out of London beating the Green Bay Packers, there's something about going overseas that make good teams look bad and bad teams look good. I'm just saying. It might be a conspiracy theory. I'm not sure, but that's where my head is at. But
will that be a statement win if they beat the Packers? Like, will that say something to you about them? Like,
yes.
they can do that.
Yes.
To be
and the last
4-1,
time, and also the last time that the Giants had a big win in London, they went on to beat the undefeated Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't
So
happening.
we're going to leave it at that because we got to ride out of here. Our man, Cortland Griffin, the halftime show. Hey, make sure y'all check this brother out. Dropping content each and every week. Very thought-provoking. I know we're getting into NBA season, so stay tuned because this brother's got a ton of basketball knowledge, and he ain't never afraid to share with y'all. Of course, my man, John Shear, Blue Hawks 13, Sideline Sports, every Tuesday night. He joins myself and the crew Mondays and Wednesdays here on the Sports Arena, 10 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to our brother, Denzel, filling in for the last 2 weeks, man. I salute you, brother. I know you got other stuff going on in your life, but I appreciate you, and I thank you for taking the time to be a part of this. Hey, man, very much like Sami Zayn, you are officially an honorary member of the Sports Arena, my brother. We're going to have to get you a shirt that says DS Honorary Sports Arena, bro. Yeah, we're going to
Yes, sir.
Hey, where mine at? I ain't got
Yes,
one
sir.
Cortland, you can go to our. We'll send you the merch page, and you can go buy yourself.
Hey, man.
Nah, we're gonna take care of you too. Hey, much love to everybody. Everyone have a great week. Enjoy the show. Don't forget tomorrow night we are returning with Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel Season 3, Week 5, breaking down the games. Make sure you check out that entire crew. So for Cortland, for John, Denzel, for Megan, for Ty, for Ray Lynn, Mike Carrot-Tenuto, and your man Eric Wilson. We will see y'all Monday. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. Peace.